What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? Tell me who are you, James?
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to the dive bar of the IWC. Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks, episode 1. Again, I'm at Ref Marsh. We're at WTR the show. With me today for our Thursday night chaser, Miss Amanda Jane.
Well, hi.
How's it going? How you doing?
I think I'm like the goose to your Maverick. I watched Top Gun Maverick recently, so you know.
The new Top Gun was very good.
It was. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw Val Kilmer at first, my eyes got misty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I cried a couple times in that movie. It was so good. Maverick was so good, it made the first Top Gun better.
Yeah, it did. You're right. It did.
Yeah,
and then
the original Top Gun's really not that good on its own. And then you watch the sequel and you go, oh, now all that dumb stuff from the first movie means something.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I kind of liked it. And it's like I know that there were some sour grapes that certain people weren't cast in the new one. But let's go there. Meg Ryan, you don't look like yourself anymore. All the plastic surgery you've had.
Was that a thing? People were upset Meg Ryan wasn't in it?
Well, some people were. Especially because, you're dealing with the son now. And then some people were all up in arms with Kelly McGillis, but then Kelly McGillis, if you've seen the recent picture, looking a little rough. But then again, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people who didn't know who Penny Benjamin was. But why are we talking about this? But anyways, I don't know.
You did it.
I did, but I kind of sometimes think that some of these wrestlers there's some who would have a pretty good call sign.
Oh yeah. I could see that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what's in your glass? What are you drinking?
Well, to start off now, I'm gonna start just with regular Coke, and then I have some Pineapple Republic of Tea, pineapple ginseng iced tea. But I will be enjoying an adult beverage soon because it's been one of those days.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
Yep.
I'm having Reed's. I talked about it yesterday a little bit. Reed's is an organic soda company, and they happen to be making now mixed drinks. So it's a zero sugar classic mule.
Mm-hmm.
7% alcohol, ginger beer.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome. It's been really good. This is we got the 4-pack. This is the last one of it, so finishing it off tonight. Always good to have a mule when talking about JR. No, that's his drink of choice.
Oh, I did not know that.
Oh yeah. JR is big on the mules.
Oh, did not know that.
No.
Interesting.
I'm a little bummed. I'm going to the Cauliflower Alley Club next week, and he's
Oh,
typically
you
been
are?
and he's been the MC for years there. But the last 2 years since the pandemic, he didn't want to come out. So, I mean, it's one of those like, it's a bummer, but not at the same time, because if it wasn't for the change in host, I might not be going, because the new host is going to be John Arezzi. And I'm starting to work with John Arezzi again. So he's going to have me come out, help him make some content for his shows and stuff, and it's going to be a good time, I think. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. That is awesome. When you're there, I think my friend Roy Lucier. Now, Roy is the one, if you ever see, like, he's the one who he loves his Lucha Libre. So he's the one who is kind of like the godfather of the archives of, Lucha Libre on YouTube, until one day they took it down. So he went back and re-uploaded every single tape he has. And I mean, if you ever have some kind of really obscure Lucha Libre question, Roy is the man to go to. And it's cool because his car also has an Aja Kong license plate, a vanity plate. I think that's badass. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Roy's pretty cool. Usually he's been involved with Cauliflower Alley for a couple of years, so I think he might be going. So if he does, you should say, hey. No.
There's usually a good group of people. So if anybody knows anybody's going to be there, or if you want to text me people who I should say hi to you on your behalf, or if you're out there, hit me up. Tweet at me at RefMarsh. Let me know. Yeah. I want to be out there hanging out, checking it out, seeing the scenes, So I don't know if anybody on here who's like Vegas. Conan.
Are they inducting? Oh, that'll be well. Then I think Roy will probably be there then. So probably. Interesting.
He's being inducted by Rey Mysterio.
Very nice.
I believe he's being inducted by Rey Mysterio and Meltzer together. I believe they're both inducting him. I can't wait to get my picture with Meltzer and post it, ironically.
I'll tell you, before Uncle Dave was cool, he would go to APW and he would sit by me. Yeah. And of course, if anybody has ever gone to a show with me, the spectacle that is me. Yeah. But I kept it tame. I kind of did because, I was respecting, Uncle Dave. And I remember one time he was like, just let it go. You want to. And I go, you sure?
So like, come on, what are you doing?
Like, come on. You'll know. Yeah, you'll know. And I think he was actually at the show that Marty wrestled Thatcher. The first time I ever saw Marty live. And I remember he said to me, how come he's like, you know who Marty Scurll is? I go, yeah, duh. Thanks, Paul Cabana. So Marty's one of my favorites. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I had never seen him before until those were the days.
Sounds good to me. Do you want to tell us some of the birthdays, and then we're going to talk some of your shows?
Yeah, we've got some really cool birthdays that actually people know some of these people. On like the last couple ones, I was like, oh gosh, Matt Hardy, happy birthday, dude. Oh, yeah? I mean, celebrating a birthday tomorrow. No one has any today, which is weird. Kairi Sane. I mean, I really wish she was at that Tampa WrestleMania. That would have been fucking great, but yeah, powers that be.
But I think people were talking about Survivor Series and how there's going to be a women's match and a men's match in War Games, and they're going to change that up this year. And people have been talking about Damage Control versus Bianca, Asuka, and Alexa, and they've been trying to figure out who could they fantasy book as the number 4. And a lot of people have been throwing out a ton of names that I really do not like the idea of at all. And I know this is going to sound like, I don't know, it might sound like bad at face value, but I think it's because it could actually work. I think if you have Asuka's return partner and Kairi Sane come back and join them, and you have Damage Control pick up Maiko Satomura, having Maiko be part of Damage Control with Bailey as a mouthpiece, as sort of their final boss, their like hired assassin, like that could be fucking cool.
That would be fucking cool. That would be. Speaking of Asuka, she's celebrating her birthday this weekend, so happy birthday, Asuka.
Happy birthday to
Speaking
Asuka.
of the devil, yeah. Stephanie McMahon, happy birthday.
Yeah.
It must,
To the boss.
I'll tell you. Yeah, the boss. The HBIC, the head bitch in charge.
Mhm.
Now, I think, and as a person who, doesn't really watch the product, it's been making me kind of tempted to start watching things, and I'm like, God, I watch way too much already.
Yeah.
But definitely, there's a lot of great shit going on. So yay! Sonya Deville, another great WWE person. Happy birthday. One that I kind of missed, but you know what? I'm glad he has been reunited with Jonah over in New Japan. Happy birthday, Shane Thorne, TDMK. And yeah, I'm glad they're bringing that back. I was a TDMK person when they were at Noah many moons ago when Zack Sabre Jr. was there. You saw Chris Hero there a lot.
Yeah.
Cole Cabanarama, all that stuff. So happy birthday. Hold on. Oh, sorry about that. Allergies. Let's see here. Who else do we have? We've got the fabulous Buddy Matthews. Happy birthday. I kind of feel for the House of Black.
Yeah.
Because
going through it.
They're going through it, but they had such a great package in what they were doing, and it just makes me wonder, because I guess is Malachi Black not doing any dates at all? Because he was supposed to do Prestige the other day.
He did that one.
He did.
He did do the one. So he got his release, did the one Prestige show, and then he put out that 3-page little thing. Did we read it or talk about it?
No.
Because that happened like this weekend, right?
You said you were going to yesterday. You said today you're going to read it.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that in a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're going through it.
Yeah, I feel for them. But, I mean, I don't know. But it's such a great little faction that was really unique. And it's a shame. But I do hope that he is going to wrestle with Brody King still at PWG, because they are the champions.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Unless they bring the Rascals back and the Rascals can take it. The new Rascals, that is. Kathy Kelly, happy birthday. Let's see here. Someone, I know he's got fans, but I'm not one. But the old, I used to call the Roman Reigns of ROH. The kind of creepy, I don't think he's that great, Damian Priest. Is that what his name is with WWE?
Yeah.
Or is that his
Priest?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was Punishment Martinez. There was no punishment there. The punishment was we had to watch his matches. Anyways. Looks like let me make sure this is the right one, because I don't want to say it's his birthday and someone yells at us like that's not the right one. Because some of these people like to put first names only, and it's like I'm like, no. Let's see here. Hold on. Oh no. Okay. Nope, not who I thought it was. Okay, never mind. We'll skip that one. Our old fans of NXT UK, we should wish Ginny a happy birthday.
Well, Ginny. Yeah, hopefully we see her in NXT Europe.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. And then of course Jason Jordan. Is he still not wrestling, or is he back?
Jason Jordan? No, he's just a producer backstage.
Oh, okay. Well,
but he's been pretty active with that. Like, that's one of the things I thought was cool too. The number of live events we've gone to, he's usually there off to the side. You can see him watching and tracking everything. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, well, awesome. And those are your birthdays this week. So happy birthday, y'all.
Man, there's a lot more news on here than
than we thought.
Up. Yeah. I know. I was like, let me pull up 1 or 2 links, and I've got 5 so far, and I haven't even gotten to Alistair.
Wow.
The fucking Alistair thing.
Is the wrestling world coming to a I since I've been so busy with work, to be honest, I haven't seen any of this wrestling bitching and whatever. So things that have happened at the good old AEW, I have not seen people's reactions to things. So I know what happened, obviously.
I don't know much about people's reactions to it either. I just pulled up his Instagram because that's where it is. So Malachi Black put this out there. So he did his prestige thing after being getting his release. The rumors out there was it was a conditional release. At this point, this is what he had to say about it. Okay. Here I go. He says all with a comma, like he's just like we didn't know this was addressed to anyone reading it at the time.
Well,
he says, firstly, thank you all for your messages. Know they are being read and appreciated. With all the turmoil going on in the landscape of professional wrestling, I took the time to think of my words, but also need to wait until conversations between mine and AEW's camp had come to a conclusion. Firstly, I dislike reading parts of my private conversations between myself and AEW in regards to my mental well-being on the internet. So he didn't like that whole thing, because that was coming out too, right? That it was he was having mental health issues and wanted to step away, so didn't help that people were saying that, I suppose. He said, these conversations were private and not meant to be shared with the public, which also begs the question on who's leaking that stuff. If it's not coming from him, who else is in that room that's telling people, and who are those people telling? Like, that's a leak they need to plug. Like, that's a problem. It's one thing to be like pitching your little fucking fits, and going to Meltzer about it. I don't like this person. This person's stiff, and you're trying to bury them the best you can. When this guy's having conversations like that in private about his mental health and how his status is going to be, that information coming out and making it all the way down to the dirt sheet level, something's wrong. That's just a level of disrespect that's got to be addressed. Like, they've been telling him not to go to the dirt sheets anyways, but to go with someone who's reading it and saying it's negatively affecting them on top of already feeling negatively affected by everything. Like, wow.
Yeah. That's fucked up.
Yeah. He goes, as by now most people realize I am a very private person and do not feel the need to have stuff like this out on the internet. If you've been following me longer than a cup of coffee, you're aware I've spoken about them prior, but would like to be the one deciding when this finds its way to the public and not through someone else's mouth. As with anything through the lips of someone else, that story gets distorted. Secondly, to be in line with the above, they also need context. I did indeed ask for my release. The last 2 years of my life had lended to a lot of setbacks. Both me and my wife have been affected by uncontrollable actions from the outside that resulted in loss of life, medical setbacks, career jeopardizing, the suicide of a close friend, and a close family member almost losing their life, then experiencing an injury that I was sure was the end of my career. I spend every week going through several sessions of rehab, dry needling, and therapy just to be able to walk and compete. Now this being the tip of the iceberg, and with the combination of the promises in my professional field that were not upheld, which resulted in a combination of all these things to a complete demoralization of life and career. This decision had been in my mind for the past 6 months. 6 months is a long time.
That is.
When you're thinking of time frames here, out of 2 years, 6 months, that means honeymoon wore off fast. It's hard to really put a finger and say this was the moment it all went wrong, but I can tell you that after many years that I have learned from a rational point of view to see when I need to hit the brakes, which is what this is. Perhaps once my mind settles on certain things and processes the last 2 years a bit better, I will convey, via a different platform than written out, what the exacts were that happened and have a more informed conversation about them. For now, know that I am good and I am taking, for the first time in 22 years, a few months to recalibrate the last 2 decades of my life. Lastly, I have read a few narratives online in regards to my, quote, release, mental health, and my personal life that I can summarize swiftly. If it didn't come from me, it didn't happen. Stuff about my conditional releases, stuff in my marriage, no, just as, not my, stuff about conditional releases, stuff in my marriage, or using said mental health to leverage the other when I was said before that part was even going to be part of the public conversation are false. My marriage is fine, I am fine, it is just time to make sure that these things stay that way. Once again, I appreciate your support and we will see each other soon enough, MB. So yeah, a lot kind of going on in there. I wouldn't say a lot to unpack. It's not our place to unpack any of that, but that is his statement, and that is what's going on. It's notable to me he did a wrestling event outside of AEW prior to putting that out to kind of wrap things up. And I wonder if part of that isn't nefarious, just that he knows the smaller promotions really anchor on the bigger names more so than an AEW would. You know what I mean? AEW won't see damage to their company, their night, or their fan base by him being gone for a week, where a small company like a Prestige, which has built a good fan base, could have negative ramifications. They could see people want their money back. They could see people complain. They could see people talk shit, and that's not
I
what you
can
want.
complain and talk shit about Prestige.
Yeah.
How I was supposed to get Malachi Black at fucking West Coast Pro. And of course, everybody knew because it's a Friday. They already knew in advance, well in advance, that he wasn't going to be there. And who do we get in return? Christopher Daniels?
Yeah.
No. And Malachi Black is, and I don't mean to bitch about it, but he was the one that I've been so excited to see because I'd never seen him before. You know, I was always hard the years that he was at PWG to get tickets. You know, like, of course I wanted to see him wrestle with, you know, Eurotrash in like 2016. Of course. Possible to get a ticket. Or no, 2015, excuse me. Sorry, he didn't do 2016 because that's when Marty won Bola. But anyways, yeah. But again, my big thing is it's that this is now another case of people rambling off to whomever, because it always makes me think of, well, who leaked it out first?
Yeah.
Who was saying something first? 9 times out of 10, I always think it's Sean Ross Sapp who's the one who brings it out first.
Yeah, but who's telling him? Because he's not there. You know
I don't know. I don't know. And even Denise Salcido is trying to be into that thing. And I'm like, girl, first of all, you're horrible. So you need to, you know, back it up. Because trust me, I could probably run a dirt sheet with all the shit that I know.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what they want to do. But
yeah,
my point is, regardless of them saying the things, whether them putting it out there is responsible or irresponsible, I think is a whole different concept of the dirt sheets. But I'm saying the people who are telling them, you know what I mean? Like, you already know what a Sean Ross or a Denise are going to do with that info. You know what I mean? Like, why are you telling those people that? Like, they're looking for those scoops. They're looking for those clicks. They need it. And I'm not even trying to knock them for their chosen profession. I'm just saying the fact of the matter is, if one of them comes up to me and asks me about some dirt backstage, or, hey, what's going on with this person, I know I got to watch my words enough to know, well, whatever I say is going to come out. And who do I have more respect for, or even not even respect, but who would I be more inclined to protect in this? A buddy in the back who's going through some serious shit, or this public website that maybe I can twist to make me look good for a week or two here and there? You know what I mean? Like, realistically, getting Meltzer on your side, getting Sean Ross on your side, that'll get you a couple weeks of good publicity where they're not going to say your match was shit, but majority of the work's got to be done by you anyways. You know what I mean? Like, you would just think in an instance like this, your loyalty to Black would supersede your loyalty to getting a good star rating, as it were. Or not saying that literal trade, but, you know, that concept of being nice, you know?
Yeah. And I will say this to any people who do write for, you know, a dirt sheet or whatever, or these other people. It's funny that I know a lot of people who aren't in that kind of profession or hobby or whatever you want to call it, who are told a lot of things that don't ever go out.
Yep. Yeah.
Hmm. So I guess I think that's an invitation that.
And that's kind of my point too. That like the amount of stuff that you know is going on that doesn't get reported means that the amount of stuff you know that's not being told to those people more often than not.
Hmm.
So why would you not protect Malachi in this? And that's all I'm saying is that kind of thing would need to be. That's what I would be trying to figure out and trying to curb, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm not. Whatever, those people are doing their job, and that's fine. But people are leaking information that they shouldn't be. That's not cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially when you're talking about someone's like mental health, it's kind of like that's not your business.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
although
not.
I think it's been pretty telling, and no one's really talking about it, that I'm seeing the stuff that Tony Khan's doing in response to all this. If there was a conditional release, I don't know anything about it, but if there was one, it wouldn't be a total surprise, right? That's kind of how a lot of those contracts work. You can't go here, here, or here until XYZ. Can't talk about this, that, or the other. Almost every release has some form of condition on it. But if the idea is that, like, hey, there's a mental health problem, why are you tacking on months on it? Why are you adding conditions? Why are you trying to copyright House of Black all of a sudden? They trademarked House of Black as soon as he got released. And it's like, first off, why didn't you trademark that way before? So I think now's the time for us to start looking at all the things they're not trademarking and start trademarking it.
Well, I hope he doesn't trademark Kings of the Black Throne, because that has nothing to do with AEW.
But if you really thought that none of that stuff was a factor, you really thought it was just that other thing, then why are you suddenly trying to scoop up all this stuff to potentially damage somebody's transition or art? I don't know. I just feel like it's a little bit shady. Not that it's this terrible, horrible, awful thing and he's doing this. Tony's true colors are coming out. Nothing like that. It's just like one of those things where you go, maybe he's not all that different from a lot of these other billionaires. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But they've already come out, though. Come on. And if you guys are naive, then whatever.
Yeah. Some other news going on. Looks like Ruby Soho is about to have a surgery for her broken nose and messed up septum that she got at that All Out match against Tay Mello. Remember when I saw that bump and I was like, dude, I think they broke her nose. Well, it turns out they did. And now she'll be out for quite some time.
What's up with all these unsafe women?
We'll talk about that in a bit. Another thing in the news I think that you would like. Wait, isn't your birthday in October?
It is.
Oh. John Cena sets Guinness World Record. He's a world record holder yet again, granting the most wishes through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, totaling 650 since he began working with the nonprofit in 2002. 650 in 20 years. I'm going to do the math real quick.
I thought it was more than that.
I thought it was more than that too, but at the same time,
I thought he had like over 1,000. Yeah, it is a lot. And I bet you, and you guys have met Cena now.
Yep, we met Cena.
I bet you he will probably have remembered every single one of the people that he's met, the kids.
Maybe
by name, all of them. But he'll remember the interaction.
I bet you it's also slowed down since some of the Hollywood stuff to a degree. I bet you he was doing more in WWE specifically, because I thought he had 500 before he left.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you look at it, in 20 years, 650 is 32 a year.
Yeah, because I think I remember when he did Fast 9, when they were filming that.
That's
I remember they brought someone. Yeah, I think they brought someone to the set. Because I remember reading that somewhere, and I'm like, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I love
jealous. Yeah. Big fans of John Cena. We met him. Got an old fashioned. Signed by John Cena. Thomas Ashbourne. Follow their socials. Maybe you can too. It looks like one of the girls who was at the one that we went to printed out the picture she got with him and took it to the second one he did and got it signed.
Oh, cool.
I was like, that's cool. But it was like a fucking poster. She did like 24 by
Jesus
22 or
Christ.
like it was made a big old poster to take up most of her wall. I think it's dope.
Damn.
I think it's dope, but
If I had
also
a photo,
I don't know how many pictures of myself I want on the wall. I know what I look like.
But I don't want a giant ass picture of myself on the wall.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I don't. Yeah, I don't need that. And I've never. Well, back in the days where I really was love NSYNC, but back in the day, I mean, I had it. My room in my apartment kind of looked like, those restaurants where they have the celebrities on the wall with the owner or whomever, and they're usually signed. I had those all, like, I had pictures of me and NSYNC like all over.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, okay, I don't think I need to do that anymore. I've never actually printed a photo of me and one of the wrestlers. There's only one photo, if I were to ever do that would get done. And that's the one that, well, there'd be two. The one that's the top of my Twitter header, because that's a fun one. And then the other one from that evening, we have an Amanda sandwich. Those
awesome.
I think would be that. And then maybe if I knew I can get Marty Jannetty to sign it, the one that's like me and Colt when Marty Jannetty and Johnny Insert Your Name photobombed us.
That'll be funny. Let's see, other stuff going on. Kushida has hand, foot, and mouth disease. He's going to miss a couple weeks of action. I thought that was crazy.
Oh, what is hand, foot, mouth disease? What is that? That sounds like something fictional.
It sounds weird. It says it's a relatively common ailment and is not life-threatening. It can be very quickly spread through skin-to-skin contact. Ailment can cause flu-like symptoms as well as skin rashes and mouth sores. Recovery usually takes between 7 to 10 days.
This sounds like a combination of monkeypox and COVID.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Get well, man. Get well.
Let's see. Let me do one more. Oh, wait, what's this? Remember we talked about this? We said, hey, X-Pac should join Creative now that the rest of DX is in charge.
And guess what? Did he?
No, but he was asked about it. Let's see. Where was he asked about it? It's down the Let's see. He said, he was on a K&S WrestleFest. Oh, he was at the WrestleFest and someone probably stuck a mic in his face and asked him a question or two. He goes, if they asked me, hey man, we could really use your help with this, I wouldn't say no. But I just don't see where I'm this fucking creative genius that's going to go in there and, bring some revolution. He goes, that was me personally. I was that way years ago, but that was years ago, man. Like, we need young people. We need young, fresh minds that know what the fuck, what's hip. Like, I learn from young people. I like to think I'm self-aware enough to know that I'm not ready for that. I can help with things, but here's the thing, man. I have a really nice balance in my life right now, and I have a nice relationship with WWE and fucking everyone for that matter, as far as I'm concerned, and I don't want to fuck that up. He's the fucking coolest, man. Fuck's the coolest.
You know what? I like that he's like, you know what, let the youth do it,
Yeah.
Who I think would be great working along with Triple H and Shawn? Fucking Cardona. Cardona, man, that guy, fuck.
He's got to go back, right? He's got to.
You would think that, but even if he doesn't go back, as a role, him creatively in the back, holy shit. Yeah. I think he'd also say that I want to be in charge of the figures. I want that position. Fire whomever. I want to, because, but I think that his creativity, and obviously, it showed when he did his, the true Long Island story. I loved watching that. Okay. I'm not going to lie. Woo, woo, woo. It, I bought into that shit.
Yeah.
It was the best, That's why I'm excited. I've never met him. I can't wait. 2,
Mhm.
because I fucking loved that shit. That shit
yeah.
was fucking
Yeah,
legendary.
he's gonna be on the cruise, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Should I send you my Cardona ref shirt to get signed?
You could do that. You should go.
That's fucking thousands of dollars.
It's not thousands of
I might as well
dollars.
just buy a boat.
No. Kind of that'd be like a rowboat or like
Yeah.
a inflatable boat and you'll die. You won't
Yeah,
get
I'll
that far.
rowboat up to the boat in the ocean, climb on board, and pirate myself into the thing.
That would be hilarious.
Let's finish up the news on this one. I just thought was notable because we've talked about him a couple of times here before. Joey Janela responded to a fan on Twitter about the video, the TV vignettes with him and Sonny Kiss. He noted that Tony Khan, quote, actually hated the vignettes and never even wanted them to make it to air. He has previously commented on Khan's dislike of the vignettes on Renee's podcast, remarking, he hated these promos. Tony thought they were phony fake, which is so ironic when you think of so much of this stuff. I mean, this is the same dude who brought in Luigi Primo, which, not even to talk shit about Luigi, but there's nothing real about flipping pizza while you're wrestling.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to talk shit about the dude, but I'm saying if Tony says, I don't want that, it's too fake, I'm going to say, I'm sorry, Danhausen and Luigi Primo. I don't know how you guys got here.
Put your fucking teeth back. Yeah, put your jarred teeth back. Put the fucking Pillsbury dough in the fucking thing.
And I'm not saying that those guys don't belong there, but I'm saying, like, your excuse can't be something's too phony or fake when you have Orange Cassidy on your show. Like, there's so many people you have on there that come off so phony that they're just the entertainment value, and you say, okay, that's the show. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's weird that was his critique of this. And then Joey says he hates it, hates the invisible camera, hates the cinematic stuff, which they've done a lot more of. Let's see.
Well, maybe that's why Ricky Starks doesn't get much of a, pushy, because, he has the flair for that dramatic. But, here's the thing, though, Tony Khan. His little self-produced ones, and I'm pretty sure he produced the ones that have been on AEW, because there's like 2, I think. Not talking the match with Sting and Cage, but I don't know. It's just weird to me. So I guess it's okay, when you have, I guess idiot people like, 2.0 or whatever the fuck they're calling themselves, Magic whatever, Daddy whatever, and like whatever, that's some shitty ass stuff. And honestly, I never thought anything was wrong with what Janela and Sonny Kiss did. And I'm not saying that because I am like, I love Janela and I, think Sonny Kiss is just amazing and was totally just was used because of as a novelty, Well,
ironically, is I was never really a fan of their pairing, and I didn't love a lot of what Joey Janela was doing, but I found those vignettes to be really interesting and pretty cool, and it made me question stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to you about his vignettes being what was kind of turning me around about him when we first met. Joey did say that in his tweets that it was because of him and Cody Rhodes that the idea got moved along, and he says his alliance with Kiss would have been one of the more popular acts if it was given more time, which is possible.
Yeah, I think so. And I think also too, when I think that people don't realize, and for as much shit as Cody got toward the end from the fans, of how much he really championed a lot of people, and and I, take it with a grain of salt. People are, he's part of the elite, whatever. No, you got to remember why that company was built, and why Joey Janela was one of the first people signed, because he had that creative mind that, they're like, holy shit, this guy is like, it's like he's fucking crazy, and I'm sure had the circumstance have been a little different and whatnot, I would not have been shocked if somehow they got Nick Gage on national TV more than just the one, like MJF's levels or whatever.
Yeah,
I think really you probably could have seen that.
possibly. Yeah,
And there's nothing wrong with that because Nick Gage is for the children.
that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what's going on with him. Also, it was noted in there that Janela said he's very happy to be out of AEW, which I think is also notable.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is,
Yeah.
this is that we're 3 years in, and
Mm-hmm.
they've been so protected as a company from negative press or opinions, and I think that that's intentional. I think that that was, and I say that meaning that I think that it was contractually. My personal belief is that no one's allowed to talk about it. Given the amount of interviews I've seen with people in talent who are currently working there, and the way they skirt certain questions, really felt to me like, oh, this person's not allowed to say what they feel. So I think it's interesting that now you have the Janela starting to say, yeah, I'm really happy I'm not there. Now you have Malachi Black saying, like, last 2 years have been miserable, not just because of work, but work didn't help any, which is just an interesting thing because when he showed up, that was massive. It was huge. It was, he's finally away from the evil corporation and he can finally be happy and free to do whatever he wants. And every time everybody saw anything he did, it was like, look at how amazing and perfect this is for him. That's not the
And
full
then
story.
2 weeks, and then what, 3 weeks later, it gets eclipsed
Yep.
by the next signing, And
Yep. By the next
I
guy.
think they did have NDA, and Joey is finally like speaking. But if you go back, and I'm not shitting on Joey, and if you are listening, man, I'm not shitting on you on this, but it's very interesting to me because I think I have mentioned this on episode 1 before, that when you go back and you look at, how a lot of the wrestlers, they were all retweeting a lot of stuff and sipping the Kool-Aid. And I know Joey sipped the Kool-Aid. I could see it. Because he was just like, man, like, a guy like me, I can make a fucking living. I can be on TV when there's places out there that I can't be at. And he was happy to be a soldier, and he was happy to do everything. And, but I'm pretty sure that when he signed, and this is a lot of people too, in that initial heyday, there's some probably no, because there's exceptions to the rule. But the majority of them, it's like they were sold this, like, almost like as a used car salesman. And the salesmen were the people like Cody, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega. Okay. So as much as people think, okay, they're shitty EVPs, you gotta look at it and say,
they're probably
no,
at least hopeful.
They were wanting to do something that was so promising.
Yeah.
But they really didn't vet the person that had the money. Yeah. And I think if they were to go back in time, I think that they would not have gone with Tony Khan. They would have, like, said, let's just try to figure this out on our own. We did all in, on our own.
That's true.
The only support they had ROH support, but that was different. ROH didn't have that kind of money like anyone else has.
They created a super promotion between themselves, Ring of Honor, NWA. You know what I mean? Like, created a super indie promotion that wasn't just going to be some rich dude using his toys the way he wants, but
exactly. And I think that would have been a huge success.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been massive. I think AEW is massive because of their goodwill to begin with. And it's kind of a bummer about Joey too, because, like, I was not bought in by Joey when I first saw him. I just wasn't. I mean, sorry. But the more I saw of him and the more I saw of his production and stuff, the more I was all like, there's something about this guy that we're missing. And then every time I would get close to being, like, connected to him, he'd be pulled off for some reason. And then you'd be like, oh, he must be injured. And then you find out he wasn't, And then I'd really say that right as he left and the stuff I saw him doing in GCW, actually with X-Pac, like we just talked, I was on my way. That was what completely sold me. And I goes, oh, I'm a Janela guy now. I didn't realize,
A lot of people, he's like a bad rash. I always tell people, you might like, God damn it, I fucking hate this shit. And, and you're just scratching at it and scratching at it. And then after a while, it's not so bad.
It just becomes you.
It
I
just
am
becomes
rash
you.
man.
Yeah, hear me roar. but no, I mean, so like for me, like with that's kind of like I will admit it too. That's how I was sold on Joey Janela.
Yeah.
But I also was sold on Joey Janela for a different reason too. But as a wrestler, that's how I was really sold. I don't do death match. Everyone knows like I'm fucking a wuss when it comes to white tubes.
And
But
even
yeah,
then,
I mean,
at this point, I don't love every single thing he ever does, but I'm definitely going to give everything he does a chance. You know what I mean? Which is something. And I'm not going to know off face value if I'm going to really love it or not, but it's worth a shot. You know what I mean? Like there's some people where it doesn't matter what they're putting out anymore. I'm not going to like it. And I know it. I'm not going to give it a chance. So.
Exactly.
I don't know if that's faint praise or not, but it's something.
No, but I think that he's one of those ones. He's like that. Another one who I think is really like that as well too is Tony Deppen. Okay, another GCW person. That like sometimes it's like you might, because this character's a little intense. No, that's a good word to use. And I'm not going to always like what he does, but I'll give it a shot because the guy's pretty good.
Yeah.
And so just things like that. GCW, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
As a whole, like I might not be a huge fan of deathmatch, but you know what? I'm gonna watch this. And I'm gonna give it a shot. Yeah.
There was one final thing that's total speculation that I saw people talking about, so I wanted to bring it up to you. Wade Keller said this. He goes, I think it's noteworthy but not surprising that he excluded CM Punk's names. He talked about some of the biggest names who have held the title. He goes, it's a bit of a tell. He goes, as I talked with Jason Powell yesterday about, I am not expecting CM Punk to wrestle in AEW again. I'm not saying it's 100% sure, or I'm not saying it's a 100% sure thing, but everything is pointing in the direction of some sort of buyout of his contract. We'll learn more eventually about that situation. So, I mean, that's the only thing that's out there is Wade believes they're going to try and buy out CM Punk's contract. I'm not seeing a ton of other news sites, like ones that like Wrestling Inc. hasn't reported it because they won't report anything unless they can confirm stuff, which makes sense. And and it's good. And that's to say that this is not news. This is speculation from Wade Keller's part, but it's got a lot of people talking. If this is the last we've seen of CM Punk, A, do you think there's a place for him in WWE? And B, if this is the final bit, does this like completely destroy everything that his return was? Because in my mind, he does not have a place in WWE, and this is his lasting legacy, is that he is this way. And after 7 years of fans begging him to come back, within 1 year's time, he got them to shoo him away with pitchforks and fire. He's been selling everyone a bill of goods, and he thought he could pull the wool over their eyes forever because he bought his own hype. He eats his own shit, drinks his own juice, and he thought everyone else was going to be on board forever. And a bunch of people said, wait, what the fuck? I don't know.
Oh, fun topic.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't bought his contract out by now.
Yeah.
Especially because, okay, first of all, let me go back into some of these. Ace Steel, was he really working for AEW or no? Because it doesn't seem like he was.
Yeah, everything I've seen has said that he was never working for AEW. He was there
for
CM Punk.
But then why is he in the back like this? And why are you suspending him, quote unquote, if he's not a worker? But also, when you see Kenny Omega's arm, because I'm sure you saw the picture. I mean, everybody saw the picture. 2 weeks later, and you still have this huge, like, bruise, which when you really look at it, that's no one's biting. That's a bite mark. The shape and everything. Like, if you ever bit your arm or whatever, And that's kind of gross to me. That is vile. That was not just, a little whatever. That was, I don't know. That was like Army Hammer shit. Like that guy's a cannibal. Ugh. Yeah. I mean, that's ridiculous behavior. Even if you're a guest back there, You don't behave like that. You don't, you should know better, especially because you've been in the industry so long.
Yep.
But Punk is never going to come back, not going to go to WWE, because I'm pretty sure that, Hunter's sitting back there looking at Stephanie. He goes, wasn't I right? Did I not say this so many years ago? Did I not call this shit out? No one's going to take him back. Dana White didn't want to deal with him. Nobody wants him. Impact will not. Scott D'Amore be like, no, hi, sorry, my buddy Don Callis. Nope. Who's he always with? Oh, Kenny, hi. No, that ain't gonna happen. There's nowhere. So is this worse than someone who was outed with this Me Too movement? Maybe not. But I think that I don't know what he was expecting.
Yeah.
Like, are you just expecting, like, you just don't want to do this shit anymore? Or I want to know, it's like, what was your motivation to do this? Because obviously, you're the one who has been completely unprofessional about this whole thing. And I'm pretty sure most people believe the fact that he probably did say, yeah, Cabana, either, he goes or I go. I'm not going.
Kevin Nash basically called Punk a bitch. He was like, don't tell me you're tired and you're old and you've been doing this forever when you haven't had any matches in 8 years and you barely did any in the last. He's like, you're not running up and down the roads all the time. Don't tell me you're over it. Like,
no,
he had no pity for him and his attitude. It was great.
No, nobody has any pity. The only person who I think has pity is probably his wife, his fucking ugly looking dog. And yes, I will talk shit about the dog.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
That's true.
I will talk shit about the dog. I'll talk shit about the whole thing. But I mean, I think that, if he were to come back, that would be the end of AEW. Because I have a feeling a lot of people would walk. And a lot of people would walk. And unless you're one of those, scenester type of fans who you're just there to get recognition, most people I would think would not walk. If I had bought a ticket, I would not mind eating the ticket, because I'm like, I don't want to see that. I'm not supporting this shit. Yeah, I already paid you, but you know what? I'm not going to be there physically. You're not going to get my voice in this crowd. You're not. No. Unless I could bring in signs that said, fuck you, Phil, and get Colt Cabana chants going. But yeah, no. I saw it was very
someone said something about Colt Cabana. Phil called him a little fat fuck, called him a virgin, remember? That's how welcoming that community is.
Oh yeah. Cheered him. Oh yeah. But what's funny? It's like, you want to talk about you. I'm like, feel free, Phil. You can. I'm not afraid of nobody. I'll fucking get in your face and tell you. And if you want it to be, oh, look, you fat fuck. And I'm like, no. Okay.
I'd bite him so fast.
I wouldn't bite him. No. My big thing would be I may be fat, but at least I don't fuck people over. Like, I'm loyal to my friends. I'm loyal to people who fucking, if they were cleaning up my bullshit for years and held all your dirty secrets, yeah. It doesn't work like that. He was the only one. I remember that. His wife, she just didn't like him. She didn't like the fact that she thought he was a freeloader because he came out there all the time. Bro, it's like, girl, he only works on the weekends. What's he supposed to do? Just sit in that little apartment? That was like his best friend for years. They were like, two peas in a pod. You can never separate those two. They would have separation anxiety. Apparently, when this is a true story, I think it's on somebody's podcast. They had gone when Punk had originally gone to WWE and was in developmental and everything. Everyone said that there was a joke that people needed to do on not only just Colt, but even with Punk. They needed to do a welfare check, because this was the first time in since before when they met each other, that they'd ever been away from each other for more than a day. That when you hear stuff like that, you're like, damn, okay. So yeah, so you can kind of see how things are. But he's not going to come back. Anybody, if he does wrestle somewhere, it's probably going to be for some, multi-billion-dollar sheik somewhere in Abu Dhabi, probably. But you're not gonna see him in professional wrestling again. You're probably the only place you will be able to see Phil is at Chicago Comic Con. C2E2.
Yeah, I can see that. C2E2.
Yeah, that's the only thing you're gonna do that. And honestly, I'm such a bitch that if he does go to the next C2E2, I will go. I will go in his line. Who sponsors Punk when he's at C2E2? I'll let you guess. Pro Wrestling Tees. So at the end of the day, somebody's still making money off of him. What an idiot. Mm-hmm. You're the one who looks stupid. And that is my 10 cents.
Let's talk NXT and then we'll finish up on AEW because AEW had a really big show. And NXT, without trying to be mean, did not have that big of a show. It was the first night with their new logo. There was notable things that happened. We're going to talk about it. But overall, I'd say it was a pretty generally average, fine show.
It was okay. It was okay. I mean,
it opened up with them stripping the title off of Solo.
Yeah.
For no fucking good reason. That really bothered me because they didn't put much effort into explaining it very well. He goes, it was an unsanctioned match. You weren't supposed to be in the match. Then why'd the match start? The bell rang. The referee was officiating it. It's not like it went on for like 30 seconds and he caught a quick one. There was plenty of time to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Sean's literally back there producing the show to make sure it goes off the air at the right time and everything. You're telling me at no point he's like, is this sanctioned or not? You're the one who sanctions them. Then he goes to SmackDown with the title. Mm-hmm. He defends the championship on SmackDown. Then he goes to a press conference with the title. You're telling me none of the steps in between, no one could figure out if he was meant to have that championship or not? Like, it was just such a bogus way to go about it where, like, I'd rather they say, hey, we really would love it if you could stay champion, but our lawyers have reviewed the contracts, and since you're officially a SmackDown roster member, we cannot have you hold this particular title.
Exactly.
Not for any lengthy period of time. You've officially moved on, and we are not going to be allowed to get you back. And then you even have Solo say, "What about Dolph?" And be like, his contract allowed him to come back down here, yours doesn't.
Yeah.
Yours won't for some time. Dolph's earned that over time to be allowed to come down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, say something that makes you go, "Oh, yeah, Dolph might have a different contract than Solo." Probably not, but storyline wise, why not? He's been there 20 fucking years. You know?
Yeah.
What about Mandy? Mandy became an NXT roster member. Do you want to stay in NXT and you can hold that championship, or do you want your SmackDown contract? That's what's on the line here.
Yeah.
And then you have him go, "This sucks," and you have Sean go, "I know, this really sucks."
Yeah.
You know, and have him say, "I got to go be with my family," and say, "I thought you might say that." You know.
Yeah.
And
but that didn't happen.
No, they didn't. They go, "We don't know how you got this title. We don't know what's going on around here."
Yeah,
people
like,
just do things without us knowing.
It's like Scooby-Doo mystery. How'd you get the belt? Oh, no.
Goddamn Scooby-Doo.
Yep. God damn it.
Yeah.
I swear to God, if they make another one of those Scooby-Doos and Solo has a fucking belt, no.
Yeah, that's true.
Deal.
It was ridiculous, and I was really upset by it. And then, Mello does that. We'll give back the title. And then here's the part that makes it worse for me. They put it in a ladder match. It's going to be a 5-way ladder match where Carmelo's just given a buy-in because he was the last champion and should have never lost it because he's unsanctioned. The only argument I heard from someone that made some form of sense on why they would put the title on Solo, given they're going to strip it a week later, was it allowed Mello to lose credibly against a credible champion that is already seen as elevated. So
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt Melo to lose like that. And I say, okay, except for a week later, they're putting it in a ladder match. And a ladder match is designed to protect every single person in the match to not look worse than, right? You just weren't the dude who got to the top of the ladder. It's not that any given person was better than you. Maybe there's so many different gimmicks they've done where someone goes through a table, someone gets shit piled on top of them, someone gets hung up in the ropes. There's all these weird things you can do where it's all like, all right, well, I just couldn't get up the ladder. It's not because I'm not as good. It's because, fate did me dirty.
Up a ladder.
Yeah. And so it's like fucking stupid because they've moved it. So if they were trying to do it to protect Melo, putting it in a ladder match does the same level of protection, but now it's 2 parts removed. So if Melo gets it back, I'm going to be pissed because why the fuck do we do that? If Melo doesn't win it here, he could have also just not won it here to begin with. They could have just had a grudge match between Solo and Melo and could have won.
Yeah.
You could have had Solo show up and just say, hey, man, I'm not done with you. And have Melo say, fine, but you're not getting this title. I'm not putting it up. And he goes, I don't care. I don't care about that title. I'm just here to kick your ass, dude, and have him win. You got to be also enough and make him look like a badass.
I just didn't like that whole thing. I just kind of was like, man, this is stupid. Are you insulting my intelligence? I sat there when I was watching that. I was just looking at it and I was just nodding like this. You are insulting my intelligence.
Yes,
totally. Stupid. Yeah, I'm like, no. The only thing that I would like to see, and I don't know, I don't think he qualified, but it would be funny if Trick was in it and Trick is the one that wins it.
That'd be great.
That'd be great. But I don't think Trick was a part of any of that. So
yeah, it should be that security guard guy, Howard or whatever.
Yeah,
should be him.
That'd be cool. But no, but I think it would be really funny if it was Trick.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
So we also got right after that we ended up with the match Axiom versus Nathan Frazier, match 2 of the best of 3 series. It was yet again a very good match that I did not care about. I just don't care about these.
And then I asked myself again. I'm like, why are we having a best of 3 match? One match would have been fine.
I think that it's fine. I think doing the best of 3 is good because it's kind of like the Cesaro Sheamus thing. You're 2 dudes you didn't know what to do with. You do the series, and now both guys look kind of like badasses because they're kicking the hell out of each other. Difference is Cesaro and Sheamus are mean motherfuckers who will beat the shit out of each other. Frazier and Axiom are rubber band motherfuckers who are going to flip all around each other.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
You don't end up watching it just being like, man, these guys are tough. You go, man, these guys are impressive with their flips. So it's like, and so it's like, it's always a good match and it's fun, but I don't feel like it's building the same way that Cesaro and Sheamus built. Like I don't want to see them as a tag. I don't think. Maybe. I don't know. I just don't care about these guys. This is their story right now. It's just, and they're both good. And they both do fine on the mic. There's nothing about their story that makes me think much of them. I'm not invested in how good they are, even though they're very good. It's a bummer because we really liked A-Kid in NXT UK, except I really wanted to call him anything else. I hated his name, and then they proved me wrong that they could make it worse by putting him in a maxim, calling him Axiom. But yeah, I don't know. After that, was there anything else on that match?
No.
Yeah. Toxic Attraction.
But
go ahead.
I will say this. Every time when I see Axiom, I'm like, can you see through the mask? Because I just think of like Sin Cara and how Sin Cara really couldn't see.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that he can kind of see, because if not, I'd hate for something to happen, especially because he's one of those, types of slurs. That would be bad.
Toxic Attraction beat Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. I think this is pretty cool to have Tatum this close to Mandy, because Tatum reminds me a lot of Mandy when Mandy first started.
Hmm.
And so I think that it might do Tatum a lot of good to be around a Mandy who's on the top of her game, to be like,
Mhm.
what do you wish you knew when you started? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
getting
Mhm.
tips from Mandy now, coming in with a similar style background and style.
Mhm.
This could be very, very good for Tatum. But other than that, I just thought it was a good match with everybody.
Oh my. I'm sorry, I just got sidetracked by something. Oh
Hmm.
boy. No, Instagram is very funny today.
Oh yeah.
But no, I really, I'll tell you, I really enjoyed that match, and I'm like, Diamond Mind is like the little engine that could right now. So I definitely
Yes.
kind of appreciate what they're trying to do there. But
Yeah.
yeah, like poor
Yeah.
Rodney. Let him.
And Tatum and Ivy
Yeah.
both looked better in this match than they've looked in a while. They
Mm-hmm.
both looked really good
Mm-hmm.
here.
Yeah, they look good. They look good. And I just love how um with like Gigi and JC, they work well with everybody.
Yes.
There's it's they make everybody look good. And I think that not only just that too, but it's really a testament of, what with the women, if they were to um like if people are, they're developing a lot of these tag teams for the future, I think that, they're in very capable hands because they've got women who work together well.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but they know those nuances, I think, of making each other look really good.
Yeah.
Because Katana and Caden, same thing. Look at them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree. What do you think of the Gacy stuff, the dyad?
You know, it's very interesting because now it it's getting stale, I
Yeah.
think. I mean, it got so good, and I was so like, oh my God, invested. Now I'm just like,
Yeah. It's flatlining.
yeah.
And I feel like it's
I
the
think
slow play
maybe
with Grimes is what's doing it.
that, and I think too, like, Chisholm's not really adding anything of great value. It's like, you can put them back under the hoods and it's probably a little better. But
Yeah.
um, I have a friend of mine who just started watching NXT. I told him, give him a shot. And of course, he sees the logo. Oh my God, it's going to be black and gold. And I go, no, 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 no. No, you can't undo all the, that 2.0 has done. Can't do
Yeah.
that and just revert back. They won't revert back. Unless all of a sudden you see people like a Joey Janela all of a sudden going to NXT, and then you're like, oh boy. But it wouldn't surprise me because he's in the best shape of his life. So you go Joey Janela. But, I'm really thinking that, I told him, I said, watch it. And then he goes, what the fuck happened to Grizzled Young Vets? And he's like, I was watching NXT UK. I go, don't start me. I'm like, don't start me.
Yeah.
But I
There's a
said,
weirdness going on.
yeah. And I said, you can't, whatever you saw in NXT UK, you cannot bring that over into what NXT is now. You can't, because I was like, yeah, you probably know who A Kid is. Yeah. I go, did you know that's Axiom? And my friend's mind blown. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. I said, those things just kind of, nothing changes.
Yeah.
And I think
I thought it was
too,
funny. Like last week, we mentioned that the new logo might just be a new logo, that a lot of it was going to stay relatively the same. And a lot of people were like, nope, black and gold's back. And then it showed up. It's the same, just a different logo.
it's the same. It's just a new logo. It teased people. If
Yeah.
anything, it was trying to be like smart marky to
Yes.
like get you to believe that it was black and gold again. I thought that was genius.
Yes, it was very funny.
How that happened. It was genius because you fooled a couple of my friends because they sure were like, "Well, it's not black and gold." I'm like, do you really want Johnny Gargano back in? No. Okay, you didn't suffer through the way. Okay. So until you've suffered through the way and all the fucking index bullshit, then don't gripe about
Yeah.
NXT right now. I'm like, no, you weren't there for some really low man on the totem pole shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good match though. Them against Sanofi and Blade was good. I just
Yeah.
again, like you said, it was kind of stale.
Yeah.
Uh,
Not doing anything for me.
yeah. They had that video package on Damon Kemp, and again, like the Diamond Mine stuff with them, it's just weird the amount of stuff that's like really waning interest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Although we did get Cora Jade versus Wendy Chu, and I like this.
I did too. Not because I'm a choo-choo on the choo-choo train, but the two of them, man, that was just the way those two worked together was just like it was magical. Like if there was a unicorn that flew over the ring and shot out rainbows and glitter, that's what this match was. I mean, I'm not saying, whatever, but it was really good.
This might have been the best match of the night, realistically. As
I think so. I think so. I mean, I hate to say that, but also, I really think too, and I know this is gonna sound funky, but I think since the departure of Legado del Fantasma, a lot of the matches, the quality of what we normally see is going down the hill. But it's just me. It's just me. But no, I mean Cora Jade, man. When you have people like Wendy and Cora Jade, the future is very, very bright. Don't know if I'm gonna like this Lash Legend shit with Wendy Chu. Don't know because I'm just not a fan of Lash Legend.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I didn't have a problem with it necessarily, but I wasn't excited by it either. I wasn't like, oh, here we go. It was just like, oh,
no, nothing is gonna. I'll be honest. I kind of thought the match, at least with Cora Jade, I thought, man, Tiffany Stratton and Wendy Chu matches, man, those were fucking great. And I'm like, I don't know about this one because it's probably just going to be a one-off and it's probably going to be funky and whatnot, right? But it actually, surprisingly, blew my expectations out of the water. Because we've seen such good product from Wendy and from Cora too as well. So I thought, maybe this is going to be just kind of mediocre, but it wasn't. And so probably the match of the night. So
yeah. Yep, I agree it was. And then we got Lash. We'll see what happens there. There was a cool video segment with Roxanne and Maiko talking about their match and how much respect they have for each other, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was a really great little segment. I will say that some of the segments are very, very awesome that they've been doing. Some are kind of missed.
Yeah.
Missed for me.
I feel like WWE across the board is becoming a lot more of that. The stuff I like a lot. The stuff I don't like, I don't even want to suffer through. You know what I mean? Where before it's also kind of like, that wasn't, super impactful, but it was fine. Like, you know what I mean? Some of the stuff's all like, this is what's going to come on. I'm not watching this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm finding it getting more and more that way, where it's like the highs are really high and the lows are so low that it's like, fucking forget this, dude. It's either the best thing that they've done in years or the worst thing I've seen all week.
Yeah.
Over and over again. I mean, to be honest, Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams versus Andre Chase and Buddy Hayward, I just didn't watch.
I don't like Chase
Andre Chase stuff.
I kind of like him, like, I don't, yeah.
As soon as he came out, I said, fucking forget this, and I walked out of the room for a while. Von Wagner versus Sangha was better than I expected.
Yeah.
I think I'd buy to say about it, really.
Yeah, I think I'd buy Sangha better than I do the dude on AEW. That's with Sanjay and Jay Lethal. Yeah.
I was thinking about Sangha in terms of his old tag team partner Veer, and I think they're doing a better job with Sangha than they are with Veer right now. So, let's see. But those two matches kind of knocked the wind out of me, and I got to say, Grayson Waller versus Oro Mensah, I barely paid attention to, and I like those guys.
No, but okay. First of all, when they were interviewing Oro Mensah, I'm like, oh, another Ghana. Someone from Ghana. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, all right. because they really emphasized that, and I was like, oh, we're gonna see Apollo Crews. That's what that means.
Oh yeah, Apollo came out with the bloody eye and stuff.
Yeah, what the hell was that? I don't understand that.
They're
The
getting
bloody
weird
eye.
with the eye thing.
Yeah, it kind of creeped me out.
Kind of reminds me of a horny toad. Out here in Arizona, if you scare a horned toad, it jumps on its back and squirts blood out its eye to scare you.
Ew. Oh.
Well, people call them horny toads, but they're called horned toad. But yeah, it's the street vernacular is horny toad. And they squirt blood out of their eye just to freak you out. They're fine, but they're just squirting blood out of their eye like crazy. It's weird.
Ew.
That's Apollo Crews' new gimmick. I don't know.
The horny Nigerian toad. Or Ghana.
Nigeria.
No, was it Ghana or Nigeria? I'm sorry. Ghana is Kofi.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Yeah, never mind. I meant sorry guys. Nigeria. Africa is all Africa to me. The only difference in Africa, personally, that I think is South Africa, totally different. Egypt, totally different. Everything else, no offense, it's kind of like the same. But you can say that about the United States too. Yeah. The shit in the middle, it's all the same.
It's all the same. Main event, number one contender match, Tyler Bate versus JD McDonough. Breaker on commentary. What'd you think of this?
I was kind of let down.
Me too. I didn't hate it, but some of it was like, you know what it made me think of is when we talked about catch wrestling in the past with like Timothy Thatcher and even like Riddle, or when you talk about Josh Barnett and Bloodsport, how you can see that what they're doing is trying to best each other physically in those moments.
Yeah.
And then we've talked about other guys like Gargano matches that are just come off overly choreographed, or Young Buck matches where they're just hyper choreographed, like go here to here so I can flip from there to there. This felt like a heavily choreographed catch style match, which was interesting because I don't think we see a lot of that.
Jonathan Gresham is like that.
Gresham's like that. Blake Christian and Alex Sheely can do a lot of stuff like that too when they're having fun.
Blake Christian, I don't normally consider him as a guy that really does catch wrestling.
No, but I've seen him do it in GCW against, I think it was Nick Wayne. Yeah.
Well, when you're wrestling Nick Wayne, you kind of either have to pick one or the other, and I think that it was good that he is willing to try those kinds of things. Sure. But Alex Shelley, used to do a lot of that too. That was kind of in his wheelhouse of a little bit of everything.
But this came off like it was a little too choreographed. Almost started. You started, if you watched, you could see Tyler Bate giving direction to JD McDonough at times.
Yeah.
You could see him like doing weird little things where you're all like, why is he drawing attention to his left leg? And you're like, oh, so JD would know to dive towards the left leg.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't well hidden. And so it was just, it was weird because I think both these guys are better than that. But this one you can kind of see through. And that was a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know. This whole show, all in all, I mean, it'll be very interesting. It'll be very interesting to see what's going to happen next. Because you can't have 2 weeks in a row where it's kind of funky like this. Because it just kind of kills any momentum that they have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it just makes me not interested to watch. Or watching it half-ass.
Yeah. Yeah. It was hard to focus on it. Now, I mean, for whatever it's worth, I'll be honest, I can look up the Rampage results as we talk about AEW. From the Grant, spoilers. All I'm seeing are spoilers. I don't know. Was there anything on Rampage, the one that you saw before, that you thought was really worth getting into? Don't look it up because you're going to come across the spoilers. Let me see.
As long as I go to
Claudio and Dustin Rhodes, I think. Wardlow, Ryman, Nemeth. Nope, this is not it because this is where Ruby got knocked out.
There you go. Man, people, why are you doing that? Now no one would probably want to watch it, here it goes. Okay, hold on. I have the ones from the week before. Matt Hardy versus Darby Allin. Nope, boring. Ethan Page versus Danhausen. That took what, 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Samoa Joe and Josh Woods. I love Josh Woods, but again, it's more like if you're really trying to get ROH going or whatever, you either need to establish Joe as your presence right now on every Rampage, wrestling somebody for that belt until you have it. Because if not, you need to get people excited for that product.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. Penelope Ford and Willow Nightingale. Again, those two ladies worked it. I enjoyed the match. I think that's probably the one match of the evening that I really, really enjoyed, to be honest.
Right.
So yeah. I mean, yeah. And I mean, I'm not looking at the spoilers. I really think it's stupid that they are spoiling what's supposed to be a pretty big type of show.
Yeah.
So, but the only thing about the spoilers is that I know when a certain match that I want to watch is on, and that's about it, because I really don't think the card, I don't think there's anything on the card. Like, I can't even remember who's on the card.
Isn't Darby Brody?
Is it? Maybe.
Are you getting Darby Brody? Well, let's talk Dynamite, though.
Yeah.
We
get Action Bronson and the two idiots.
Yeah.
Hook. Yeah.
So yeah, I would say this Dynamite was better than last week. I did like it more overall. There was still a lot of stuff that I did not watch at all and fast forwarded, so maybe that's part of it. I knew I wasn't gonna like certain things, so I didn't watch it.
Okay.
But I also liked I remember last week we talked about how it was like just dragging ass because everyone was talking and no one was wrestling in a way that wasn't very compelling because so many people are bad on the mic. But this one was a stark change. It was back to a lot of long matches, which was kind of nice because of...
Yeah.
I mean, especially you had Marina Shafir trending on Twitter for the worst reasons. Well, because she cut that promo on that Rampage, and everyone just ripped it apart forever. So she was trending. So maybe it wasn't a bad idea to not have too many people talk this week. But
also, I think they're trying to recover from that awful Sammy Guevara.
Oh yeah, that was rough too. Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that. Sammy's like weird cryptic shit. I don't know. I didn't want to give him too much time, other than good riddance if it's true.
Well, he is. Can you at least spoil this one? Because I don't give a fuck about him. If you saw in the spoilers, does he lose?
Does he have a match on the next Rampage?
I'll
pull it up.
We'll spoil this one because I give no fucks about him. And his wife, he needs to learn how to wrestle.
The fuck match does he have? Oh, against Kingston? Yeah, he loses.
Yes! I hope Eddie punched him in the mouth again.
Oh, wait.
Wait. No. Oh, no. Don't tell me they made Eddie look like a bitch again. Come on. I can't take it anymore.
Okay, I'm going to read you this whole thing, because what?
Okay.
This is the bullet point I'm seeing. Eddie Kingston defeated Sammy Guevara, but the decision was reversed, so Guevara defeated Kingston. Guevara came out to the new anime-themed entrance video, which shows him wrestling with AEW stars. Sammy took the mic and said from the bottom of his heart he apologizes for Kingston being a fat piece of shit. The crowd erupted. Following an aggressive match between the two, Kingston ended up making Guevara tap out for the win. However, Kingston would not stop choking Guevara after the bell, so the referee overturned the result, and Guevara was named the winner. So he got his ass kicked so hard he became the winner out of sadness.
Which ref was this?
Didn't say, but I gotta imagine.
I have a guess. Do
you think it's Paul Turner?
No.
I think that they're willing to suffer. He's one of the only ones with credibility. It says Kingston snapped and attacked security after the match. Jerry Lynn and other officials. Kingston had bullied the referee some during the match.
It's the black guy then.
You think?
I don't know his
the
name.
One from NXT?
Yeah.
Maybe. You know,
because
there was even a thing that came out where Tony Khan was asked about the officiating, and I was like, oh, because they're like, oh, he finally says that, yeah, some stuff was happening, and the way that the headline was sounded like he's acknowledging it. No, he wasn't. It was all fucking kayfabe. He goes, yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that the first couple of matches were won when there was some illegal activity happening in the match. But Paul Turner's kind of the guy who's leading the refs, and I think he does a really good job. We just got to tell him to tighten up ship a little bit. And I was like, you don't give a fuck, and it's clear in that comment too. You didn't say like you guys make your refs look like idiots. You said, oh yeah, people cheated and the refs didn't catch it.
Well, if I would love, because I've had lots of conversations that time with like Paul Turner and whatnot, and that's not the kind of ref Paul Turner is. You might want to look at some of these other ones you really like to highlight. There's really, honestly, the one ref that should not be there.
Most of them should not be there, but let's talk about Dynamite instead.
Well, I know, but yeah.
Claudio versus Jericho for Ring of Honor World Championship, and wouldn't you know it, new Ring of Honor World Champion Chris Jericho. More than anything, I was surprised at how well received that was by the audience. The audience cheered a lot in the stadium. They popped big. And I was shocked at that because I thought, of course, they're not going to like this horrible reaction to the Ring of Honor title. I also thought it was really ironic and hysterical to me that Bully Ray tweeted out, and just like that, the Ring of Honor World Championship has meant more today than it ever has in its entire history. And I wanted to just laugh in his face so hard and ask him what he thought about WWE ECW and their first champion. What was it, Paul White? Wasn't he the first WWE ECW champion?
Yeah, I think so.
To say it's means more now than it ever has before just because it's on a bigger platform, you have to then, and him of all people.
Well, my comment about him is, Mr. Bully Ray, you were one of the reasons and one of the people responsible for the decline and the downfall of the last Ring of Honor.
Well, there's that too. Inaugural champion was Jimmy Snuka, who won the title by defeating Salvatore Bellamore in 1992. What the fuck? This is talking about the whole ECW. Oh my god.
Oh.
This former. Oh my god. Let me go here. Yeah. This has got to be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, Snuka 92. 2000 is when it went under. 2006 it comes back. Rob Van Dam was the first one when he beat John Cena. He held it for less than a month, and then Big Show won it and held it for almost a year. Then it was Bobby Lashley, then Mr. McMahon, then Bobby Lashley, then vacated, then Johnny Nitro, then CM Punk, then Chavo Guerrero. Yeah, when you think of greatest ECW champions of all time, this is the list that comes up. Fucking Bully's so full of shit. With as much as he talks about ECW and what it meant and what it was and how much it meant to those people in that time and how it just wasn't the same anymore, for him of all people to say the Ring of Honor World Championship means more now than it ever has before, spits in the face of his entire ECW argument. Nope. Mr. McMahon being ECW champion is the best thing that ever happened to ECW. You heard it here first. So stupid. But it's interesting. And it makes me wonder. It makes me a lot less interested in what they're doing with Ring of Honor. But I'm sure someone will watch.
I have to watch because that's the only way I can see Colt Cabana.
Colt Cabana should take that title off Jericho night one. First TV, Colt Cabana should win it. Right off Jericho.
Let me tell you a story about Colt Cabana in the championship, the ROH championship. That is the one that he never got to have. See, I don't think he was a TV. He's never gotten a champ like either TV or world championship, but he should have had it.
Mm-hmm.
He
I think it would also
he
be a
actually
huge statement for a couple reasons. Let's say they boot CM Punk, and they put this title on Jericho, and then they start a Ring of Honor. They do the next Ring of Honor pay-per-view, and Colt Cabana comes out, surprise entrant. You know what I mean? I'm open challenge for this title. I don't give a shit. I'm Jericho, motherfuckers. Colt comes out, booms him in the balls. Superman pins him, teabagging him. That's how that Superman pin looks. Looks like he's trying to teabag the guy. So he teabags him.
You have to throw in a
title.
flying asshole. Flying asshole.
Blaring butthole, whatever you want to call it. Blasting butt dust. What? If I'm Colt Cabana, I'm booming.
He, you know, he would appreciate. No, he would probably be all. He will never give it back to you. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The biggest thing
I have to tell you
is he wouldn't give it back. He'd have too much fun with it.
Yeah. I'll tell you a story offline about the kind of person Colt Cabana is, and this is why you know you will never. If you ever let him borrow it, you will never get it back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I want to see. My first thought as soon as Jericho won is I started laughing. I said, please give that title to Colt Cabana because you'd be making a double statement. Ring of Honor's back, baby. Jericho's not going to be the face of everything we ever do. Which, I mean, I was defending him last week. I'm not trying to shit on Jericho in that moment. But, and then it would also be saying CM Punk is gone and we stand with Colt Cabana. # we stand with Colt.
Well, I will say this. If they do an event, I need to buy a ticket because if this comes true into fruition and I am not there because they probably bit off the fucking idea because they listened to this little show of ours, I will be so sad.
We'll get shirts that say boom boom Bana, baby.
He'll be all, God damn it. And I'm like, no, dude.
We'll do it like a
bring the
Bananarama
fart gun.
font, though.
Yep.
Dude, I would bring the fart gun. As soon as he won, I would just be going, woo!
Oh, God. Oh, my God. He would just fucking love that. Oh, don't. Yeah, no. Oh, God.
I'd be like,
no.
I'd be like Connor at the end of WrestleMania 30 when Daniel Bryan's like, come in the ring, you little kid. And I'd be running in there with my shirt off going, woo!
Oh, good Lord. And then you would see me, camera pan to me, and I'm like slowly ducking underneath the
I don't know either of them.
underneath the barricade. I'm like, no, I don't know these two. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be amazing. It'll be
amazing.
Like,
Colt, he didn't like your wrestling before. He doesn't like comedy wrestling.
It's true, yeah. He talks a lot of shit. Talks a lot of shit for a guy jumping around.
Yeah, so don't fucking buy into that fart gun bullshit. Anyways.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't remember thinking one way or the other about the match. I thought it was fine.
I just was shocked that they took it off of Claudio so soon.
Yeah, me too.
And I just now also worried that Claudio's just gonna like fall to the wayside.
Yep, I thought about that too. I also wondered that.
Because they're high on Yuta. But
yeah, I
don't, in that little faction, I don't know. And you know what I would love to see? Absolutely love. Is if Chris Hero decides that he wants to come back for a little bit and they pair him on a Ring of Honor card with Claudio at the Kings of Wrestling. Them versus the FTR. I'm all about that. All about that. Because they were a great tag team. One of my probably one of my favorites from Ring of Honor ever. Yeah.
All right. I can see that.
Obviously, they won't have their manager with them, who their manager was Sarah Del Rey, but that's okay.
Oh my God. This thing's listing top moments and says Audrey Edwards became the first woman to referee a ROH world title match. Fuck Christ.
Bite me. Yeah. That bitch is just in it for herself.
It's an interesting move. We'll see what happens with it. The next thing they had, though, was Swerve and Our Glory versus the Acclaimed. Everyone got scissored. Everyone got daddied. Everyone was swerved, and the glory holes aplenty. We, what? What? I didn't make this show. You can't get mad at me because of how they are. So Ass Daddy was ringside. Looks like
You
he
just
stuck
made this
himself up
sound
in
like
it.
just a very, like, if I did not know what you were talking about,
Wrestling.
I'd been this is some horrible, weird, funky porn. And this guy is weird. Yeah, no.
I mean, as much as I talked about it before, I believe it was episode 1, I'm not the biggest Acclaimed fan. I think that they are... I think it's a little bit like rooting for Beavis and Butthead, and I think they're loud and obnoxious, which is fine. But...
No, I'm going to correct you. Cheering for Beavis and Butthead is that 2.0 Ever Rise, whatever the hell they are. That's what that is. As well as the Gunn Brothers. Again, that's another Beavis and Butthead. I will not put the Acclaimed in that echelon. They're a step above. They're more like a Ren and Stimpy. Still kind of childish, but it's a little bit more cheeky and sophisticated. No, not dirtier. Just a little bit more cheeky and sophisticated. It's for those snobs like us who, we don't like childish behavior. But
yeah, I mean, clearly I'm not the most refined. I'm not all Frasier over here, but they just don't do much for me. But they're pretty good in the ring, and they're clearly beloved by that fan base. And they made the right call here, made them the champions. Those are your guys. Yeah. As much as I like Strickland and Keith Lee in general, the Acclaim need these titles right now, and they should have them. And it's a big deal. It's pretty cool. I saw 2 people were talking about it. Bowens becomes the first openly gay champion in AEW.
No.
Yep.
That's not true.
Yep.
Well, then Nyla Rose.
Nyla Rose isn't gay. Nyla Rose is trans.
Yes. No, but she's also in a relationship with a woman.
Oh. I don't know how that works. It sounds like a contract dispute.
I know. But technically,
wouldn't that be great if Nyla Rose retweeted that tweet and was all like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I know. I'm not baiting her. I'm like, girl, aren't you technically the first? Because
I mean, that sounds right. I'm not trying to say you're wrong.
Well, yeah, I know.
I don't understand contracts.
But then they're also trying to tell me now by saying that is maybe all of Nyla Rose's plumbing is not correct right now. Like, it's not full. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe they're also just trying to get that as many times. Because, what would then happen is, let's say that's true. They then would say, well, he's the first openly gay man be champion. Okay. And then if that weren't true, he'd suddenly be the first African-American gay man to be, you know what I mean? Like, there is however many things they can get on the docket there. And I'm not saying that in a mean way or the AEW is trying to do that. I'm saying the wrestling community is trying to pinpoint what makes him historic in this moment, because for every good reason, this is historic, and they want it to be historic, and they need to pinpoint what that is so that way it can be in those books somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
whatever book that happens to be. But I think it's cool for him. Whatever. Like, he posted about it. I think it's awesome for them in general. They're a great tag team, and they deserve that spot. Yeah. So I'm curious what's going to happen with the Swerve Up in My Glory. See what happens with them. I don't know if they're going to stay together or not, because they've said over and over again they're singles guys who happen to be stuck in a tag team at the moment. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see.
Again, I think they did a really good job of, before having that, having Swerve have that kind of, he's in it for himself when they did that one battle royal or whatever. And then to now go back to Swerve's the one who kind of caused this inadvertently.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do with it.
Yeah, and that was one too where they just buried the shit out of the ref in this one. The ref was having to go way out of his way to pretend like he couldn't see stuff, and it was fucking rough. You just can't watch AEW and expect any kind of rule or ref respect, because I think people get hung up on that still, and I don't so much anymore. I just watch it and go, ugh. Here we go.
It was Rick Knox, I believe.
I think so. Yeah. Which in his defense, he's never had credibility to begin with. You can't lose more credibility when you start with none.
No.
You know? So when you
The
put
only
Rick
two
Knox in there, you go,
credible-
oh, this ref is worthless and bullshit. So then no matter what happens, you go, oh, yeah, that's because that ref is the worst. You know what I mean?
The
And then
only-
the next ref comes out and you go, he is also awful. So
But the only two credible refs, senior official Paul Turner, and I always forget his name, who was at NWA.
At NWA, Jared Fritz, he's not over there. Are you talking about
I thought
Steven
there was
Smith, who
someone-
was in NXT?
Maybe.
Oh, no, you're right. There was that one skinny dude who was in NWA, and I do not remember his name. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say, wait a minute. No. Yeah.
I don't know.
And the worst credibility belongs to one.
Well, after that was Pac versus Orange Cassidy, which I did not watch at all, but I saw that Pac won. So there's that.
Let me tell you, if I were Pac, I would be kind of pissed. I'd feel like I'm being insulted
Yes. And
because it made him look like a jackass.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree. No, actually, before that, because I have nothing to say about that match, MJF and Wheeler Yuta had a bit of a promo segment.
Mhm.
I don't think Wheeler did awful. I also don't think, because a lot of people are saying that like there's a stark difference between MJF and Yuta, and there is. But I also don't think that, I still don't see what everyone sees in MJF all the time. He says the most obvious stuff. He's the most overdue. He's a baby face of the whole company. You know what I mean? He was just doing press stuff as a funny asshole. He's a bad guy, but he's not. Like, he's so fucking phony and just dies on this hill that he's the only one that's not phony that it's kind of weird. So he does all those same little low-hanging fruit jokes. Yuta even mentions it. And it was fine. It was fine on both sides. You go, oh, yeah, this guy's the jerk. This guy's the good guy. They should fight, and I want the good guy to win. And that's how I felt about it. But I didn't feel like it was this overly clever, well-done thing that was just like this high-level anything. It felt like MJF stands out also because everyone else is so bad. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying he couldn't hold his own with some of the greats, like an Austin or Rock or whatever, or even like he couldn't do great with a Roman or a Sammy or a KO. He probably could, because he probably would have to step up, and I think he's capable of doing that. But I also wonder if he realizes he doesn't have to step that high to stand out, and so he just stays where he's on top. You know what I mean? Because I feel like he's capable of more, and I feel like we've seen more out of him at certain points. And then he does stuff like this where you go, yeah, it's not bad, but I'm not rewatching it. You know what I mean? No one's going to say, hey, did you watch it? And then they say no. They're not going to say, you have to go see it. They're going to be like, oh, he did a good job. He talked some good shit. That's it, you know? He's not must watch.
And then when you think about him and Punk, those matches really weren't all that great.
Yeah.
The only match I can ever say, an MJF match that I've seen that I thought was actually, well, I don't want to say it's good. It had its parts in it. Is this pure comedy wrestling? It was a touching father and son wrestling match, Colt Cabana versus MJF at AAW in Chicago on All In Weekend. They played catch in the ring. It was really cute. That's when I got hustled. But yeah, he worked me into buying a shirt.
He kind of reminds me of like an insult comic, like Triumph the insult comic dog. Everything's from poop on.
Oh my god, yes. Because didn't Triumph also have a scarf that he wore with his cigar?
You definitely have the cigar. But I feel like that he's kind of like a Don Rickles, which none of this stuff's like meant to be mean. It's just like this is what makes it not heelish is that you want the laugh.
Mm-hmm.
You're going for the joke. The joke is that you're a jerk, but we all know you're not actually a jerk. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like when he did the whole thing, he's all like, everyone in here would let me sleep with their wives if I wanted to. The only reason I don't is because I have standards. And then he kind of walks towards the crowd and looks at them like, here's where you laugh. And he's like, I'm being nice. I'm being nice. And you're all like, you're clearly begging for the laughs. You're trying to do the insult comic thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just don't see how that's heat. They even pan to the crowd where they're all laughing and going pointing, like, they're cheering them, and you're like, this is your big bad guy? Like, you're not going to see... I mean, there's the whole reason Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin was working was because people hated all of their jokes. Like, you can't be funny and then also be hated. It's just weird.
One or the other.
Weird. Yeah, people just buy into it in such a way that's just kind of weird. I mean, like even Eddie Guerrero, Lie, Cheat, and Steal. Mm-hmm. That wasn't a heel persona. That was a babyface persona because he did funny shit and everyone loved it. Mm-hmm. And he was an asshole who cheated all the time, and people loved it because it was funny. Like I don't see how this is. I mean, I don't know. Speaking of, I have no idea what the fuck was going on. Jade Cargill in the back with the baddies. Trina came out and said some stuff, and I had no idea what the fuck was going on. Why do I care that Trina's there? I had to look her up. She's a rapper. She's probably good. Yeah. She's probably very good. People were very excited, so I imagine she's great. But I wasn't familiar, and I don't know why I should be excited she's here talking shit to Jade. Is she gonna fight?
Well, she's a bad fucking bitch, Trina. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
What'd she do?
She's ghetto. I mean, she's got some. Well, she is pretty ghetto. You can saw she had to tone the ghetto down, which I was like, girl, just let it go, man. Y'all about fucking pulling the weaves out, putting the rings inside out, the other way around so you can scratch the shit out of people, Why do I know all this shit? Anyways. But if you know songs like, actually, I want to make sure I'm getting this correctly. She's got tunes such as, hold on, sorry. Apparently, she's done a song with Trick Daddy, and Lil Wayne is one of her baby daddies. Let me see here. I think one of the songs that everybody may know, and I want to make sure I think this was her and not somebody else. But I think she did that one song. Hold on. Oh, maybe she didn't. I thought she was the one that did that song. My neck, my back,
Yeah,
I think that's her. I don't. Yeah, no. I think that was her, but I don't know. Yeah. I could be wrong, but it was very weird.
Fights.
Yeah, I hope she does too. Because girl, I love me like World Star type of fights with bitches. That's awesome. The fucking best. That's the best. But I thought it was weird that they had all these New York rappers like Fabulous. I'm like, when has he done anything like great? The only song I know by him is that Holla Back, Young and woo, woo. Yeah. And then there was some other rapper I have no idea. So I'm like, obviously you couldn't get, the staples of rap. Like you couldn't get a Diddy. You couldn't get Jay-Z would never put his likeness out there. But you didn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Diddy would have done it. So I think that's good. But yeah, I don't have.
Yeah.
Let's see. We had the interim women's championship match: Toni Storm versus Athena versus Serena Deeb versus Britt Baker.
Mm-hmm.
This match saw a lot of misses. Athena broke Britt Baker's nose again in a spot that was crazy. I saw someone say, "Oh my God, how is she doing this? This is incredible." They played the clip where Athena drops Britt on her head and then lands on her face and breaks her nose. And I was like, she didn't do it. What do you... Like, it's really difficult for me to understand why someone sees somebody mess something up so bad and say, how did this person pull this off? They didn't pull it off.
No.
That's what you're watching, is you're watching them fail at the thing that they're trying to do. And you're highlighting it in a really weird way. Almost like it comes off like pity. Like, oh, they didn't get it. I'm going to tell them that they did an amazing job at it. But they clearly didn't get it. You know what I mean? It's just really weird to me. Like, I'm not saying to shit on people when they mess up. But I'm saying, like, hey, look, they did this thing perfectly and it's clearly messed up. Feels weird to me when I read that. It's not... I think they're trying to support and it doesn't come off that way to me. It comes off, like, really patronizing. And it almost comes off sarcastic and you're not trying to be. You know what I mean? Because I saw it and I was just all like... Are you being mean to Athena? Like, she didn't mean it. You know what I mean? Like, in my mind, I was like, why are you being mean? Like, she didn't realize what happened. Like, she messed up. Oh, well, like, happens. But at the end of the match, so Britt Baker breaks her nose. She ends up in the corner. She rushes over to Tony where they wrap up the match as fast as they could. Jamie Hayter comes out, beats the shit out of Tony with Britt, so now that whole rivalry's back together again. And then Saraya, formerly known as Paige, comes out, does fuck all, walks around the ring, points people, says things, screams, "This is my house," and doesn't pick up a mic, and then it kind of fades away, and she's in the ring with the baby faces, so it's good. So it should be fine. She chased out everyone from the ring. And that's a little weird if this was a heated rivalry and a heated fight, to just be like, oh, I'm coming out now to take my place on the stage. Everyone let me come out and bow. It's like, it really just, it's not done very authentically or smoothly. It's pretty abrupt is all. So it's neat to see her back. I think, like most people, I'm concerned about her being back because it feels like WWE would not clear her to wrestle. And AEW doesn't give a shit and says, yeah, it's fine to wrestle. That's what it feels like. That doesn't mean that's what's happening. But from the outside looking in, I think that that's a valid criticism people are having is, oh, AEW so lax with their medical and WWE so strict, that's the only place she can go. Okay, maybe, but we don't know otherwise, right? Like, might be true, might not be true. But the big concern is... she comes out there and she's now relatively in a story with someone who just had their nose broken for the third time. Somebody who broke someone's nose for like the second time. One person who just came back from injury, Serena, because she messed up her shoulder. And she's arguably the best one in the entire company at this. And she can't avoid getting injured. And you have Toni Storm, who's just kind of this anomaly sitting around. Just, I feel like that's the safest person for her to work with. And who knows? It feels like what's going to happen is Paige is going to somehow be involved in the interim women's title unification match and come out on top. Beat Thunder Rosa, and now you have Paige as the champion. Tony and Thunder no longer champion, and Paige feels like she's one bad bump away from permanent paralysis. Like, what the fuck?
Although, I will say, it would have been nice if she were the one to have come out, beat Jade Cargill from out of nowhere.
Yes.
That would have been great.
I mean, perfect.
Yeah.
It
But
would have been an amazing way to stop Jade's streak and give credibility to the TBS title, to make Paige look like she's a fucking monster. That would have been
she
amazing.
did it on Raw when she went on Raw.
Exactly. Do it the same way.
Yeah.
Just a total callback to the AJ Lee thing. And then you have Paige floating around in the TBS title area, helping women build themselves up to get to the world title without having to be in the world title thing. Now she's immediately in the world title thing. And you, okay. See how this plays out, I guess.
I guess Tony Khan had a stiffy.
I wonder if we aren't seeing the last year of Thunder Rosa in AEW.
We are seeing the last of Thunder Rosa in AEW.
I feel like this has got to get pretty frustrating for her, and I feel like that the other side's got to be knocking. because they know and they see what she could be.
Mm-hmm. And there is no way now that Triple H and Shawn and Stephanie would not be. This is a no-brainer.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Thunder Rosa's been a slam dunk for 5 years.
Oh, I know, but they, obviously they weren't calling, or they did. I can't remember. But yeah, they're probably thinking to themselves, let this one go. Let him do it. Yeah. Because she offers so much.
Yeah.
For them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that the more and more I think of it, I'm thinking, Tony.
This kind of thing just has to be frustrating for her because she's
putting
in so much work and effort in all of it, and she just keeps getting shit on by these little favorites and these little new toys of the week. And at a certain point, like, where can she go from here? She's the AEW Women's Champion. And they're about to try to make it look like she's the worst AEW Women's Champion that's ever been.
Yeah.
Politically, they're trying to do this.
Yeah.
Where can she go from here? Go back to that title? Like, she's at the top of the mountain now and being shit on. It doesn't make you want to stay at the top of the mountain. It makes you want to find a new mountain. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that with her at this point in time, if I were Thunder Rosa, I hope if you're cleaning your house, girl, if I were you, girl, I would say, I mean, it was bad news when we saw, like, I gave Ruby Soho the benefit of the doubt. She was she was a favorite for a week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe 3 tops. Yeah. And it always goes back to Britt. And any of us know, with a grain of salt, that, this bitch can do no wrong. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, of course, she and her old man are gonna, they're top of the food chain. And I just think that, really, at the only people who really benefit from Britt Baker being a champ or whatever is Jamie Hayter and Rebel. And it's sad because Jamie Hayter is actually really good.
Yeah. I've liked her a while.
But I think, and I would be very slighted because it's like, you've got someone who, the biggest thing when you look back at Britt Baker, she was always like this, dentistry. Okay. This was just a cool thing to do on the weekends. So now it's like, okay, have you gotten better? No. You're still probably on par with where you are, but it comes to a point where it's like you can only do so much. And not only that too, it's like if you were to go back to that the all-in match, the women's 4-way, and you put Chelsea Green, put Tessa Blanchard, put Britt Baker in there, and Madison Rayne, okay, and you had that same match, I will say this, I am pretty sure that the only one of the 4 who probably looks better than they were at that moment is, well, I'd still say Tessa, because Tessa's phenomenal. Chelsea Green, as long as she can keep without injury, I mean, she's really good at what she does. It's just she gets injured a lot, unfortunately. This is how it goes sometimes. But I think that when you're not improving and you're held on this pedestal, it's probably very frustrating for people who, they're working hard at their craft, and you can see how much contribution that they're bringing to the table, not only just because of what they're doing and they're providing, but what they're providing for the future. That, it just kills me. It's like, go where you're definitely appreciated.
Yeah.
No matter what, the fans will follow her.
Yeah. Oh.
Because she is very beloved. very beloved. So
I think she would get a. I don't think it'd be the same. And I don't think it'd be identical or comparable. But I don't think it would be that far different in a certain regard of when Cody came back to WWE. I think people seeing Thunder Rosa in AEW would go nuts. The people that know her would go nuts, and the people around them would say, "Who's that?" And they would get them excited. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And I also think too that Mission Pro can also kind of be like, I don't want to say like the stomping grounds, but it, there's a lot of women that are wrestling in Mission Pro or have gone through Mission Pro that definitely I see they have bright futures.
Yeah.
And, and they would be awesome. Like, I really hope, one person I really hope that WWE does sign and bring her aboard is Maddie Renkowski. I love Maddie. Yeah. I love her to death. She is great. Great character work. She's got great skills in ring. Good on the mic too. And I'm just kind of like, at first I thought, oh, she'd be great at AEW. No. I mean, I could see her, up there with, the likes of, Roxanne Perez. I mean, I could see her with a lot of those people there, and those women, and it would be phenomenal. So,
there's two people I don't understand, two women I don't understand why they don't get a fair shake. That's Danny Jordan and Allison Kay. I don't understand why they don't.
I can tell you why. With Allison Kay, is has bad reputation.
Bad reputation for attitude. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
That's great.
And the thing is too is it's like, unlike a Tessa where it's like, if you can look past the attitude, this girl's, she's amazing. Tessa should be everywhere. But people just don't forgive the attitude.
Yeah.
But if you were to say, if I were to choose between the two troublemakers of women's wrestling, if you were to have to pick between Tessa and Allison Kay, who would you pick? I'd pick Tessa night and day.
Yeah, it's
hands
a tough
down.
one. Yeah, it's tough because it's going to be hard pressed not to pick a Tessa in that regard. But and Danny Jordan, I'd like to see her get a fair shake somewhere where they don't let her hide behind the Mean Girls gimmick. I want to see someone shake her up and be like, hey.
With Danny Jordan though, I've never heard anything like bad about her. I think that unfortunately that gimmick is kind of like.
I think it's the gimmick. I think until she shakes that gimmick, she's not gonna. I know it's what she thinks has gotten her here, but I think that it holds her back.
It does because there's a lot of copyright infringement there.
Yeah.
Your burn book looks exactly like the burn book. So it's more of if you can get yourself some kind of like look at Penelope Ford. Okay, she's the bad girl.
Look at Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah.
How's that different than Regina George?
No, it's not.
What I mean?
Yeah, or one of the Heathers from Heathers.
Exactly. That's what I mean. It's not that different, but it's different enough to where you can both lean into a character, not have to open yourself up, but I don't know. Let's talk main event.
The way. Yeah, I was gonna say, and I do to bring up Tiffany Stratton. That's an excellent way that she plays that kind of a character.
Yeah.
Where there's just enough of being snotty and kind of bitchy, and not, which makes it perfect.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We got Jon Moxley versus Daniel Bryan. This was for the World Championship. They crowned it on Moxley. They're calling it a 3-time because they don't count the interim, which is interesting. But it's cool, and there was no losing here. No matter who won this match, this was going to be good for the company.
Yeah,
I'm a little bummed they didn't go with Daniel.
Same here, because what would have been for me the reason why was it would make that whole Jericho, Daniel Bryan, Daniel Garcia thing more interesting.
Yes,
they also hold the belt,
especially given that Jericho won the Ring of Honor championship. Daniel Garcia's got the pure, If you have Jericho with the world, and if you had Bryan with the AEW world, then you have Jericho being like, look, we're representing the same brand even. But then you start having the argument of, well, what title really means more? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and going into putting an ROH product on TV, why aren't we consulted? Yeah.
I don't know, but
that makes sense.
Yeah, I do think it would have been cool for Bryan if he'd gotten the championship, because I think that it's super believable and it'd be interesting. We haven't seen that yet. Moxley with the championship again. We know what that looks like, and it's not awful by any means. And I think that I do feel like Moxley stepped up in a way, beyond the idea of him just not getting his vacation. I do feel that there's a difference with him right now. That he really feels like that he can carry this company on his back and prove it. And I think it's not a bad time for him to do that. And I also wonder if Bryan's just all like, yeah, do it, dude. Like, I'm here to support you, but I don't want to carry this company. And then Mox might be like, this is my chance to really prove something about me. Or what does Daniel Bryan have to prove? You know what I mean? He's carried WWE in big time. You know what I mean? Like, WrestleMania 30, Yeselmania. You know what I mean? Like, his legacy there is crazy, where Moxley's legacy as Dean Ambrose isn't bad, but it's not on the level of Daniel Bryan, where if Moxley sets himself apart outside of WWE in a level like this where he's the guy, that could be a lot for him, you know? So I think it's cool. The match was cool. I do wonder, because they had made an announcement at GCW that Moxley was going to go up against Nick Gage with the GCW title versus career match. At the time, because you can look at it with hindsight, Moxley wasn't supposed to have the AEW world title at that time.
No.
Well, he has it now. Can your world champion lose a match to Nick Gage, even if your title's not on the line?
Yes.
I think it's more complicated than that, because if he shows up with the GCW world title, loses it to Nick Gage, now you have the argument that a bunch of, you know, internet wrestling nerds can say, well, he beat the AEW world champion. He's theoretically the uncrowned AEW world champion. You know what I mean?
No, because true GCW loyalists don't give a fuck about AEW.
That's true too. It's the AEW nerds that would try to ruin it.
Well,
and Tony is an AEW nerd.
Okay, here's the thing. Well, he better be. It's his company.
Yes. That's not a knock.
No, but I really think that, you know, it's not going to hurt them to have him beat Mox. It's not. Because let's face it, the kind of wrestling that Nick Gage does, even though, yes, it was on TV, on AEW, that's not the kind of shit Tony likes. That's not his thing. Because God forbid you see any of those guys with light tubes in their hand or getting stabbed with it. The only people who probably would do it is Brody King, Darby Allin, and Mox. And I do think
it would build goodwill for Tony.
But I think
the GCW fans would respect Tony a little bit more if they let Moxley do the job for Nick.
Well, here's the thing, though, is I think that when they made that match, part of it too was being designed that Tony didn't want him to have that belt anymore.
I know. Tony doesn't want him to have that belt, and he was supposed to take 6 months off anyways. So if the idea was he was going to go there, lose that title, stay off of everyone's TV for 4 more months, and then return to AEW with none of that taste in their mouth, that all makes a ton of sense. But now you have your world champion going over there who's not taking any time off TV and potentially losing a match to a dude at a company you don't want to support. That's what I mean. Like, it would give Tony a ton of goodwill if he actually let Mox lose that match. Now, the other thing, though, is we talked about it. What made that match interesting is, what if Nick's just ready to retire and he wants Mox to be the one to put him out? Then none of that matters. And then it's like, well, go ahead, beat him too. Like, well, whatever. Yeah. So it makes me wonder that side of things, which we'll probably not know for years. But if Nick loses this match, I think that's what it's going to come down to. Nick's either going to lose the match and we're going to know he was ready to retire and this is what he wanted, or they're going to do something weird to get out of that match in some way so that's not the stipulations anymore. Or the match just doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
No, Lauderdale's not that kind of person. He was not going to do that. Didn't do that for DJ Hyde and the whole CZW debacle when GCW started really kind of getting its momentum and its real start. I think if anything, because if you look at Nick Gage's Instagram, he's been training like this, like fucking, you know, I don't think he's even said he's never trained like this before. Even Janela has made comments like, fucking Nick Gage, you think I'm fucking getting, look at fucking Gage. Look at him go. You know, and I'm really thinking that, because I used to think to myself, if someone is going to retire Nick Gage, okay, I've always thought it's going to be one of these younger guys because they'll be able to carry that torch. Like, I'm thinking like a Jimmy Lloyd or Matthew Justice, those kinds of guys, right? To carry that legacy. But I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
But I just don't feel like I don't think that people will trip as much off of Gage beating Mox and getting that belt back than we think. I really don't. I think that it is what it is. He's kind of doing what Tony wishes, is just, I don't want you working for that company anymore. Because obviously Tony sees it as a threat. Is it a threat? Damn right it's a threat. Damn right. And
it's
yeah, you have
the cool kids in town.
Yeah, and also, you know, you have someone, which you should have thought about this before you gave him a contract and signed the guy and burned him. You've got someone over there who has an axe to kind of grind.
That's true too.
You know, you do, and I know that a lot of that, because I think it's pretty common knowledge now, but you know, it really changed. As much as at the beginning Janelle would say, oh, you know, it really has changed my life for the good. Oh yeah, it did. But it also brought in a lot of things for him that were not good, you know? So that's where it's like the grass is always not greener on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah. And especially when you're promised things, like I know he was promised things. I'm pretty sure Marco Stunt was promised things, but Marco's not really wrestling anymore. Every once in a while, you might see him at a GCW thing, but you know, still same thing. That was really fucked what they did with those guys.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. But I do think it's interesting. I do think also that, to me, the funny part of seeing the end of this match was I was like, well, this makes GCW a lot more interesting.
That's what I thought too. But then I thought, no, you know, story-wise lines, I thought it was kind of stupid because it would have made the Daniel Garcia, Jericho, and Daniel Bryan stuff at least have something that makes it interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
Instead of some fucking dude bigger. The only bad thing is we got to hear that fucking theme more so again and again and again and again.
Every time
I was enjoying
hear
Lionheart.
Thing, I get more and more annoyed that it's not as. I remember how much I loved his original song. I even said for a while, you can go back to like when they first debuted on episode 1, that I thought that Moxie had the only good music in all of AEW. There was a while there I was like, why does he got badass music and everyone else got garbage?
That's not true.
Who had good music?
You don't like Powerhouse's theme?
Powerhouse wasn't even there at the time. And his theme's weird right now.
Well, his theme is kind of weird now. They remixed it.
Yeah.
But no, but he was there. He was there before Mox was there and had the same theme.
Mox was there on their first show.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was. He showed up at Double or Nothing. He debuted on their first pay-per-view.
I thought he debuted on the second Double or Nothing.
No. It was the
No,
first
he
one in
no.
Vegas. Yes, he did.
Are you? No.
Yep.
No.
Yep, because it was 2019. It was Rumble 20 or 19 was his last time he did something for WWE. He wrapped up at Rumble 2019 because I was there. I remember seeing him grab a chair and say he wanted to talk to the audience. I remember watching the gaffers and stuff, tell him it's not going to fucking happen. It was really weird. And they never talked about it, so it was like not a kayfabe thing. And yeah, it was. He was there at the very first Double or Nothing.
Hold on here. Oh, you're right.
Yeah. For like at least the first year or two, I thought Mox had the only good music.
Oh, you know why? You know why? Because I'll admit this. I really didn't watch AEW when it first came around.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. The only reason why I watched was I watched to see, like Janela, the Bucks, Hangman, Cody. But that's as much as my elite allegiances had lied, where it was lying at the time. I really didn't get into it until a little bit later.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry. So I am wrong then. Why am I thinking? I don't know. Why am I thinking he? Yeah. No. Okay. That makes sense. See, I don't know everything, people.
Yep.
Well, maybe because I don't care about Chris Jericho, or I don't care about Mox, or I don't care about that kind of shit.
Yeah. But it was a good match, and we got a new champion, and we'll see how it goes. And I'm interested to see more about GCW now than I was before, so
yeah,
I don't know what it all has to mean. But it was good overall. There's only a couple. Oh, there's only like one match in here I skipped entirely.
Which one?
Pac.
Oh no! Yeah, you didn't miss anything, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was a better one than last week for sure.
Yeah,
but we'll see. It's been more interesting.
Yeah, like Rampage. I'm a little upset that they're spoiling it. They're spoiling this one. It seems more hardcore than normally because they always film. No, but not as hardcore. No, not like as. Really?
They do, because every time I have to look up the Rampage results, I always have to scroll through spoilers to find the right one. That's why I try to pull it up before we go live, because I'm like, all right, I'm going to have to look at the spoilers for this week or the next week. Like, yeah, so.
Yeah.
But I did agree, you talked about it before we went on, because we did the watch along for Hobbs Starks at Double or All In or whatever it was. We should probably do one for tomorrow night's Rampage. So I believe we'll get the West Coast feed of it, which I believe is 8 p.m., right? Or is it 7?
Well, I think it's at 10 o'clock Eastern.
What?
Is when they start.
10 o'clock at night?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I've never watched it, so I have no idea. We'll figure out what time it is. We'll come on live. Whenever you get it, I'll watch it. And then we'll just we'll do a little review as we go and see if they fixed it or if they continued on with the same garbage.
Yeah, and I think also I heard one of the spoilers I had heard is something is going down on what would be my birthday show that AEW is doing. But I'm sorry, you know how much airfare is to Cincinnati, Ohio from where I am? That's not worth it unless I know I'm in the front row. Sorry to be a snob, but I want to be one of those obnoxious people. Like, it's my birthday.
Yeah.
Cash App, and then my Cash App thing. I want to sign like that. And then yeah. Then I'd have a high fill. How you like watching AEW on TV at home?
Oh yeah.
Colt Cabanas is high. Yeah.
Well, what we know about CM Punk is he's definitely not watching at home because he's never been a fan of wrestling. He's never watched any wrestling. If he's
That's right. That's right.
We know that with
That's
absolute
right.
certainty from his time on WWE Backstage.
Yeah.
Grim
Now,
Reaper's coming through the chat saying hi.
Did
Anything else
they
for last call?
tape Rampage before or after?
It was after.
Oh,
Yeah.
that doesn't bode well
Not for
because
the
I'm
crowd.
assuming the lights out match is the last one,
Yeah, which
unless
is
they
at the end of a
decided to
9-hour
do
visit.
lights out in the middle of the thing.
Yeah. We'll
And
see.
it's 2 hours long. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see. Anything else before we get last call?
No. But when is the Nick Gage match though?
It's October something.
Okay.
I'll look it up because if it's in California, I might go.
It's not. I don't think it is. I think it's in New
think-
Jersey. I think
I
it's
think it's in Jersey.
It's in Atlantic City, maybe.
That's what I think. That's why I'm going to double check. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
Why you're not going to not have it in his home state? You know what I mean?
No, that makes sense.
MDK all fucking day. That's the other thing I had to say.
Hell yeah. Well, guys, we'll be back actually tomorrow for a little drink along, and then we'll be back next week, or we may not be back next week. We don't know. Next week's going to be a little bit up in the air because I'll be out of town. We're going to figure out what we're going to be able to do or not be able to do. I'll be in Vegas at Cauliflower Alley Club. So
Go say hi to Marsh.
Yeah,
if
you
you're
guys
there.
are out there, come say hi. I don't think I'm going to wear a ref shirt. I thought about it. There's too many possible matches that could break out. I don't want him to be too busy. You
Then
know.
they were like, "Do you know how to ref?" And you're like, "God damn it, yes, I do."
They can count, sort of.
No,
And
there are
count
people
to-
who can count and they can't ref.
That's
Come
a
on.
good point. That's a good point. I know the rules, so.
You do know the rules. You're not going to be one of those ones that ignores everything, right? You're not one of those kinds.
Well, you can't ignore everything if you don't know the rules. You don't know what to ignore. So.
True.
Yeah. Guys, we'll be back. Stay tuned for the next time of our little drink-alongs here with your drinking buddies right here in the dive bar of the IWC. That's the last call.
Cheers.
Hey, produce or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.